Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Well, my personal report this week is 2 days on the water, one fish landed, one other opportunity, and that was it. And spent my time back trolling eggs. And mainly, I kind of stuck with that because I've got 5 jars thawed out, and I'm going to burn them. Although I'm probably going to switch gears this week. Overall report, well, I got to say that I didn't actually catch the fish. My buddy Moose actually caught the fish. He's the second person to be in my boat, and he caught a fish. So I'm saying my boat got one. He was back bouncing too, by the way, which was awesome. But in the end, overall, the Willamette has been just tough this week. There's certainly been some folks that have had success, no doubt about it. Some of the 10%ers, and as you all know, I ain't one of them, did have a day or two that were decent fishing. Overall, though, it's been a very tough week. Now, reports were a little bit more promising yesterday in the lower parts of the river. All we can do is kind of cross our fingers that those fish might be moving out of the Columbia and finally working their way into the Willamette, because that's kind of the consensus, is that our fish that are destined for the Willamette are still in the Columbia and have yet to push up. The Columbia is quite high. It's been going up. They've been dumping more water out of Bonneville, which does two things: slows the fish migration as they get into the Willamette, and it turns the Willamette into a lake. Quite literally, it is Lake Willamette right now. But yesterday was a pretty promising day for reports, so that was promising. Not to hang my hat on that too much, but let's just hope that that means that with this weather report we just got from Drew, coincides with some pretty good opportunities on the Willamette. The only other places folks are really targeting spring Chinook, other than a couple of the tributaries in the lower parts of the Willamette, is up above. Wind River, Drano. The report that I got this morning from Drano was a total zoo, as you can imagine, in the toilet bowl there, but somewhere between 40 and 50 fish caught. That's not horrible. That's actually much better than anybody's been reporting in a while. When we get to fish counts, you'll kind of see why that might be true going above Bonneville. But Ryan, my producer, is also an outdoorsman, right? Gets out with his family. They love to go fishing and go clamming. Take a look at that. Nice limit, man. How long did it take? I know you're not going to be able to hear him, but how long did it take you to get that limit, Ryan? 20 minutes. And you went to Longview, or Long Beach, excuse me. How was the crowd? Was it a lot of people? He said that there wasn't a lot of people. So very, very nice. And how did you cook them? I always got to ask this. How did you cook them? Okay. So he fries them up and pancos them like a lot of people do. Were they delicious? He said they were delicious. I'm glad that he appreciates them. I don't necessarily appreciate them, other than when Bev makes them. And if you know who you are, if you know, you know. Let's go ahead and take a look at the fish counts going over the falls at Oregon City. You might think that this isn't very good, but overall, I'm not going to have time to put the 10-year up. It's pretty much on track. It's okay. It's not great by any means, but at 48.20, in theory, we should start seeing a pretty significant jump here in the next or probably 2 weeks is when you're going to start seeing a bump there. Taking a look at Bonneville, though, the numbers have been ramping up pretty nicely. Last week we were talking about numbers in the 1,1900 a day going over, and since then you can see that it's climbed. Yesterday being the best day at 5,000, a total of 38 grand. Is over Bonneville. Steelhead numbers are still very low. Got that question about what's going to happen in the summertime on summer steelhead and sockeye. Those numbers, at least for the last 10 years, which is not a great time frame for the Columbia River, it's not horrible. So still have some things to look forward to if we don't get some sort of an opportunity on the Columbia to chase Chinook before that kind of really kicks off. Let's take a look at that 10-year average, though, for Bonneville, because that's where the big question mark is right now. And I say that because there's rumors of a number of different things, right? That we may get back out there this month to chase some springers at the very end. Who knows? But it's good sign. Last year is the blue line. This year is the red line. 10-year average is the black line. And you can see we're slightly ahead of schedule as opposed to last year. But this big bounce here really kind of keeps us ahead of that 10-year, and especially last year last year's numbers that were going over Bonneville. So this is all very, very positive. Does that mean that we might have another shot at them for us that fish below Bonneville, even though we've got like 12 to 1,800 or something like that of our allocated fish left to us? Which is a source of frustration for a lot of people, and I totally get it. But at the very least, this is positive things. So let's just cross our fingers that, maybe there's that outside chance that we might get back out there to get a springer on the Columbia before everything, switches gears come June 15th. But we'll, again, just kind of see how everything plays out. Turbidity on the Willamette, too clear. I mean, I'd much rather it be up into the 6s, 8s. Personally, I like it more off color, but this is that time of year. There's very, very little current out there, even on an outgoing tide. So sometimes getting a little bit deeper might be an advantage, although I will say some of the reports that I've been getting, and some of them have been pretty consistent between that 20 and 15 and 25 foot range in the water column. As far as keeping your baits there, it seems like there's been some sort of consistency in that range. So if you're out trolling, if you can keep your gear in that range, that might be a place to start. Everything's different though. Taking a look at the falls at Oregon City, they are forecasting a little bounce going forward. A couple foot bounce is not a big deal if you're fishing it on the rise, especially on a river system that large. So I wouldn't say that that's anything to be too concerned with. It's nice to see the tides kind of flattening out a little bit, but what that does is when you don't have these big tides dropping out, even less opportunity for getting any current. And current is a big deal, trolling or not. On the Columbia, now I don't think we're going to be showing Bonneville, but they are dumping a little bit more water, and you can see that it is giving a forecast to go up about 2.5 feet on that average. Again, for us below Bonneville, we're not out there right now, but it could be interesting. There's still a lot of snow up in the mountains, so to see what they might actually do, again, could be interesting. All right, don't forget Jason over at Procure. Send him an email. It's easy, jason@procure.com. Enter yourself in to have a chance to win, and yes, it's a real thing, and you have to enter in each week in order to be eligible to win that prize pack. Then, of course, don't forget, if you're not already a member of the CCA, especially if you're over in Washington, you need all the help you can get in that state. I mean, literally, if you're an angler of any kind, you know what I'm referring to. It is at the RV Inn, make sure I get this correct, RV Inn Style Convention Center in Vancouver, and that's May 9th. You can have a chance to go meet the folks from the CCA. Join up if you're not already a member, but I'm going to say it again. If you live in Washington, you got a ton of concerns over there on how things are managed and how they're operated, and the CCA can and unquestionably helps with that situation. And I got to throw out our condolences from Outdoor GPS to the Grogan family. Mr. Dan Grogan, who was a previous owner of Fisherman's Marine, and a guy that took a leap of faith about 13 years ago, now on Outdoor GPS, sponsoring our show, becoming our presenting sponsor a little over a decade ago. If it wasn't for Carmen McDonald kind of really helping us out a lot, Dan was very hesitant about our little show, and he really took a leap, and we will always appreciate that. He recently passed away. Very nice guy, and he was a good dude. So for the family, our condolences to you from us here at Outdoor GPS and all of his friends, of course. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, we're going to start our conversation with Austin Mosier. We're talking turkey. Typically, we're talking salmon fishing or triploids or walleye. Not this time. We're going to talk feathers instead of fins. We'll be back with that in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.